This is the EWN Podcast Network.
Ever wondered how you could turn your side hustle into a full-time gig and spend more time together?
Hi, I'm Vicki, a #1 best-selling author.
And I'm John, a retired Los Angeles police officer. Welcome to Dig the Well, where we help couples navigate the world of business.
We've been married for 35 years, and because we built a successful side business, John retired 9 years earlier than he originally planned from the Los Angeles Police Department after 25 years on the job. Now we spend more time together, and we want to help couples like you do the same.
Join us as we help you overcome common obstacles, and we show you how to make extra income without sacrificing family time.
Ready to dig deep and build your well? Let's get started. Welcome back to Dig the Well. And I'm super excited because I've done a couple episodes interviewing some other guests, and I've got John back. Yay!
Yay.
John's with me, and this episode is different. It's really different. It's the title you might have seen already, but if you haven't, Baby's Business and Building a Legacy, the 3 B's that are so important, I think, in so many people's lives. And we're happy. We're excited.
Yeah, we are. And, we made us think too, like back in when we first started our businesses and we didn't do it just for us, even though we didn't have kids yet, but we knew we would, right? And we were doing it for them. It wasn't, it wasn't selfish. We wanted to build a business for us, but we thought, how cool would this be to build something that's going to be a legacy, that our kids can either take over or they can build businesses of their own with some of our help and coaching and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I even think we use that word legacy.
Yeah.
We use that word legacy.
Yeah, we certainly did.
Yeah, people talk about that all the time, but we definitely said we wanted to create a legacy for our children. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now they're having babies of their own, which is really crazy.
They are. And so our son, some of you have heard the episode. It was one of the original episodes, the first 10 or so, where our son was on. So he and his wife, Allison, just had 6 months ago, a baby girl. And so she had her 6-month birthday yesterday.
Allison sent the cutest pictures of her. She was there with her little hat. Yeah. And it said half on it.
I know. I'd never seen anything like that. Just, the 1/2. I know, that was really, really cute. And she was eating watermelon, and that was the big joke in our text thread, right?
Yeah.
Because instead of a cake, it was a watermelon ball with a candle on top. And so we asked, is that watermelon? And that's what it looked like. And with no skin. So it's just red. And then what did you say in the text back to them? I said,
yeah, I forget. They said that she didn't really care for it.
Oh.
And I said, wow, who doesn't like watermelon?
Yeah, exactly.
Evidently our son, John.
Yeah. And I thought she did care for it, but he didn't. Yeah. And then they're like, your son doesn't like it. And then we got in avocados and all kinds of things.
Yeah.
But hey, anyway, so adorable. And our daughter is due any day now. She's had a couple due dates. Like Sunday was what her doctors or her midwife thinks is her due date. And then the hospital's due date was yesterday. So she's ready. And it got us really thinking. And that's why we thought we'd do this episode on building a legacy for your family. And it goes perfect with Dig the Well, right? Totally perfect with our philosophy behind Dig the Well of digging in maybe a total dry ground where you're not seeing any water, but preparing for water, for you to find water and for the next generation. So I was all excited that it totally fits with everything that's going on in our lives right now. Yeah. So we're kind of verklempt. We're expecting, we're looking at text. So if you see us kind of looking at our phones right now, honestly, it could be any second.
Yeah. I was thinking today. I was thinking she was going to
that's right.
take him out of the oven today.
Yeah.
or God was going to take him out of the oven today, but I don't know.
Yeah. And they're expecting a boy. Did we say that? I don't think so.
I don't know.
So, yeah. So we already have a 6-month-old granddaughter, and now we're going to have a grandson. Yay. So, thinking back, we were getting kind of melancholy, or I was. John doesn't usually get melancholy unless you've had a few drinks and you're listening to Zach Brown or something.
Yeah, okay.
That's probably the only time guys do, when they've had a few drinks and they're listening to some great music. But I get melancholy all the time, right? When you say, yeah. And I was thinking about our why always, and like what you just said about when we started the business, we didn't have kids yet, but we were already thinking, we knew we would. We had those discussions. Yeah, like a lot of couples do. Some don't plan to have kids and then later change their mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some can't have kids. So that's a whole thing, of course. But yeah, so really our why is our kids, and now to see them now having kids, and so all our thoughts on building a legacy now is being passed on in a sense. It's just a cool feeling.
Yeah, and then thinking back on it, when we first started with our own business, it was like we were saying, it was before kids. But it was a brick and mortar business. We've talked about it in the past. Yeah. It was an automotive based brick and mortar business, and we had employees. We had a location that we operated from, and at that time, that was kind of the way you do business. And there wasn't a lot to do with online. Almost nothing, right? There was there was mail order. People did mail order, and we
were going to do that.
Yeah, we actually explored that, but that was a massive upfront cost to do mail order.
Right.
So we actually had a lot of products photographed, we started putting together the actual catalogs, and then the publication and then the distribution of that catalog was just so expensive. It became kind of. We decided not to do it.
Right. But the internet was coming around then.
Yeah.
That was 90, 91, 92. Yeah.
Right. But what kind of moved us out of that brick and mortar business and really made, at least for me, I can't speak for Vicky, but for me, what was kind of like an aha moment was after we had our kids, and we're like, and I remember it got to the point where like, we're married to this business. When you think about owning a business, people oftentimes think that business owners have like banker's hours, that they just do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. And if they knew the real truth, especially with brick and mortar businesses, it's a nightmare. You're there like 7 days a week. You're there 10, 12, 16 hours a day. Maybe even more than that. I remember there were times where, we slept at the shop.
Yeah.
Worked till late at night, slept for a few hours, got up in the morning, opened up, and went back to work. And so it got to the point where we were spending time with the kids because we're dragging them to work with us.
Yeah.
Right. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't see our kids, but maybe for a couple hours when we got home.
Yeah.
And maybe an hour if we got up early enough before we left for work. And then I thought, this isn't the life I want.
Right.
And then we got into a massive car accident. Some dork who just got his learner's permit decided he didn't need to stop at a stop sign, and ended up T-boning us as we were going down Imperial Highway. And back then there wasn't
in City of Brea, right?
Yeah, and then ended up rolling our car over a couple times. And I remember thinking, gosh, and both kids were in the car, right?
Yeah.
John was 3 weeks old.
Yeah.
And Misa was
like a year and
a little over a year.
Months. Yeah.
And I remember I thought, why are we putting our kids through this, commuting to work every day? Why should they be stuck commuting to work? They have plenty of time to do that when they get older. But anyways, it was kind of a deal where I thought, we need to move into something different. And that's when we started thinking, well, we need to look for that perfect business,
right?
A business that just makes sense. You can work from home. You can work from anywhere. Because even a home-based business, you're still locked down to a location oftentimes. But with what we do, we can do it anywhere in the world, which is really cool. So I think that's what, at least for me, was when we had the kids, that it was time then to let's look into a better business model. And that's what we found.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I love the fact, and I kind of want to stress this point. I love what we did. I love that we had a plan to start a business and start creating something, whether we change businesses or not. You're learning constantly, right? And so I love that even before the kids came, we were building, we were learning. And then when they came, then it was kind of ready made. And then we morphed into a smarter business plan. That's for sure, a business model. But we didn't wait for the water to show up, right? We started digging way even before they came. So I'm kind of like really want to make the point with any young entrepreneurs that might be listening, and you're thinking, if anything, now is the time to build before the kids come. Really get your foundation set. I mean, you could build at any time, but that's so important.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why anyone would wait.
Yeah.
Right. If what are you waiting for? It's not going to get any better or any easier the more you wait.
Right. It's so true. But I think people think that.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. And the other thing too is, I don't care when you start, you're always going to wish you had started sooner.
Yeah. Yeah. And your dad gave you that advice too. You're young, get started with a business. Remember, you told me that he said that. And it's so very true, because if the kids are here and now you want to start a business, that you might get pushback, from the spouse if they're not right on board with you. And maybe some of you, maybe put in the chat if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, if that's happening to you, where you're getting pushback, you want to start a business and they don't really want you to. It would have been smarter to start way before the kids. And I get it, because the spouse wants help with the kids and wants to see you and all those things, but super smart to do it before. And that's kind of what our daughter has done. She has a traditional job, although now she's on leave, but she also has an e-commerce business. And so she makes money at that and wants to build it, even while on maternity leave, to grow even more, right? And then when she goes back to her traditional type job, sales job, she'll have both really going. Yeah. And I think that's brilliant too. That's the kind of legacy we're leaving, teaching for our kids too, and all kids.
Yeah, for sure. Because if you're thinking you're going to start a family and then you're going to start your business at the same time, that's going to be kind of tough, I think. Right?
Yeah,
because the new baby, especially if it's your first baby, it is literally life-changing.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. It changes so much, and it can be so stressful. And then trying to start and build a business on top of that, I think that's a lot of unnecessary stress at the same time.
Right. Where if you already have the business and you're just layering the baby on top, you don't know any better. That's so true.
Yeah. If you have the business and you have the right kind of business, because like what we do, well, we're not going to have any babies, but right now, but let's roll the time clock back. Or let's say if we were in like our 20s and even our early 30s or whatever, and we were going to have a baby now, it would be perfect, because we've built a business, built an organization that will sustain through the time we need to take off to kind of get acclimated to a baby.
Right. The money keeps coming in, and we're not there. We don't have holding their hand.
We don't have to work it every day. And the other great thing about what we do is we have such a strong network and community of people who will help us to keep our business thriving through it. And we would do the same for them.
And we do the same.
It, right?
Yeah.
We do it. We do it through different things. It may not be a baby. Maybe they're having some sort of health crisis, some sort of stress on their lives where they need to kind of pull back a little bit and deal with family, because after all, that's the most important thing anyhow. So we just tell them, hey, you deal with what you got to deal with your family. We got your business.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, if you want information on what we do, we set people up in their own independent franchise. That's what we do. But it doesn't have the normal trappings of a traditional franchise, all of the franchise fees and that go along with all of that. So, reach out to us in the comments, send us an email. You can find us anywhere, or I'm on all the social media platforms, the Vicki Downey with 2 Ks. But yeah, so let's jump into raising kids as you are an entrepreneur. Like some of you might be thinking that, well, I have my own business, but my kids seem to have no interest in what I do or having their own business. I find that hard to believe because I feel like this next generation, Gen Z in particular, and a lot of millennials don't want to work for somebody else. But say you're a brand new parent, keep doing what and you are an entrepreneur, keep doing what you're doing, keep setting the example, keep showing the wins and showing the fails too. Keep showing that you keep going after goals in your business, even when you don't hit them. I mean, I think that's powerful when you're teaching by example. That saying, is it Gandhi? Be the change you want to see in the world. I actually changed it. I say, be the example you want to see in the world. I really do believe that. I don't know. I like that better personally, because I feel like my parents raised me to set an example, to be proactive, not reactive. We were talking about that this morning, but too. And so do that with your kids. Have them help you with their business, even if they're 2, 3, 4 years old. Remember one of our businesses, we found cute little things where they drew daddy. And at that time we had kind of an online business with the call in and pick up and all of that. But there was a way that you shared with people how to join the business and do their business. And we called it Show the Plan because it had a plan also. And so I found a picture that John wrote and he's like, go get him, daddy, show the plan. And he was like 3 or 4 years old. But guess what? We know he was learning the whole time that daddy's helping other people have their own business. Wow. He's really cool. He's my superhero. And he would draw like a cape, like a Batman, and it was you. So I think I love those kind of stories of young parents that are raising kids and building their business, because I don't want you to shield the stresses and the frustrations. They need to know it's not a straight shot, right? It's the entrepreneur roller coaster. There's ups and downs, and they need to see you push through, right? Don't you agree?
Absolutely. Because if they only see all the successes and never any of the struggles, they're going to go into life with an odd perspective, right? They're going to think everything's going to go right for me. It's going to be like a soccer game. Everybody gets a trophy. Everybody gets a participation trophy. And life isn't like that.
Right.
There's winners and losers. And they've got to see you fight through the losses, fight through the setbacks, and not let it affect you. Like, hey, we got it. We'll just move, we'll push forward. And I think that's teaches them so much about life, to not give up when something goes wrong. And I see that so many times when something goes the slightest bit wrong, people just shut down.
Yeah, they do. They quit. They're quitters.
And then you see the other ones that step up when things are starting to go sideways. They just step up and figure out a way to get through it. Right? They improvise, adapt, and overcome. They figure it out.
Right.
And I have so much respect for people who can do that.
Yeah.
And then they don't whine about the part that went wrong. Right?
Exactly.
It was like, okay, great, I learned.
Yeah.
Right. You don't learn anything from a win.
Winning all the time.
You only learn from defeats.
Yeah.
Right? You learn from losing.
So true.
You learn how to be better. Yeah.
In fact, you get kind of arrogant a lot of times. Some people do, not everybody, but hopefully most people are gracious winners. But sometimes people can get very arrogant at winning, and then it topples them off the mountain the minute they have a loss, right? And they can't get back up again. Yeah. So I'd rather, have a decent amount of setbacks. I know that sounds crazy to say, because when you're in the moment and you have a setback, you're like, I don't want to go through this. And there's times, right, then you want to quit. I feel like I have that like 5 seconds of, this is so frustrating. Why am I even doing this? But then I snap out of it like right away also, and get right back to it.
I think that would be one of the worst things ever. If your children see you quit.
Yeah.
Because you can't walk that back. You're a quitter.
Yeah.
And in their eyes, you'll always be a quitter.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, right.
And it goes to sports, and then that carries over to sports. But sports, we've talked about, are such a great character builder, team builder for businesses, for entrepreneurs. Because you can't do it alone. You have to have a team helping you, whether now it's like with VAs, you might be a solo entrepreneur, right? But you still need really help. You need to delegate and get some help. And VAs don't cost very much.
Yeah.
So, but
I was watching a cooking show, right? And it was MasterChef. It was one of the earlier seasons of MasterChef. And I enjoy watching those things because you see all these people competing, right? And some should be, some shouldn't be. And it's headed up by the host of the show is Gordon Ramsay. So I think everyone knows who Gordon Ramsay is. Probably arguably the best chef in the world. And there's two other guys that are also judges with him. And it was weird because it relates to what we were just talking about. One of the contestants, she just completely fell apart. She had something go wrong during her, she had 60 minutes to prepare an entree or whatever the heck it was. And something went wrong early on in her cook. And the wheels completely fell off. And she didn't know what to do. She was just like a deer in headlights.
Oh, gosh.
And even Ramsey comes over and tells her, like, get it together. What are you doing? Do you want to go home? Because if you want to go home, just go home. Otherwise, basically get your shit together, I think is what he told her in those words, right? And said, get it together and get back in this thing and keep fighting. And then at the end of that particular episode, he talked about he talked a little bit about not giving up, about having that fortitude and fighting your way through. And he made a comment. He said, how do you put it? He said something like, you're going to make mistakes. He said, I've made thousands of them.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think he even said, I've made more mistakes than all of you in this room put together. And yet he's the best chef in the world. And it just shows you, he learned from those mistakes. And he even said, you'll learn from your mistakes. So make those mistakes, learn from them, and move on.
Right.
Definitely. So anyways, I just wanted to get.
Yeah,
I just saw that yesterday, so I can still remember it.
Entrepreneurship is failing. Yeah. I recently did a training for our company on Monday, and one of the quotes was from B. Smith. She's a restaurateur. It's funny, and an actress and an author. And hers was, I stand on a mountain of no's for one yes. And it's so true. That's what I also think of failing. Even though you're not failing when you get a no, it's just a no, not right now on whatever your ask is. But you feel like it's a failure, right? So just think about how many no's Gordon Ramsay got, or failures he had to have that best cheesecake souffle or whatever. He probably doesn't even do something like that. But to have the creme de la creme meal, right? He failed on a bunch of meals. Yeah. And that's with your business too. It's how you grow and get better and better and better.
Yeah. And I've brought this up before, and it's worth bringing up again. It was a reporter interviewing Elon Musk during the time he was developing the reusable Falcon 9 rocket for SpaceX. And which is basically, if you don't know, it's a reusable rocket, which is kind of odd because all of the rockets beforehand and what we've been using in the United States have been Saturn rockets. They launch those into space, whether it delivers a satellite or whatever its mission is. Once it's finished, it's left in space as just space junk. So it would be akin to flying a 747 from Los Angeles to New York. And then when you get to New York, they destroy the plane. It's one use only, and they destroy. How expensive would a ticket be? So Musk came up with this idea of reusing rockets to save money. And this rocket returns to Earth and lands like a pencil. It lands on a landing pad.
It's still mind-blowing.
It's awesome. If you haven't seen it, Google it and watch some videos of that rocket landing back on Earth. But anyways, he was doing the testing, and it was set to try and land on a barge out in the ocean because they knew it was going to crash. So they didn't want it to crash anywhere near population. So it's out in the ocean on a barge. It's all videoed, and a reporter was asking him, what do you think your chances are of this thing basically landing? And he said, zero, absolutely zero. It's going to crash. It's going to crash and burn. It's going to be an exciting, fiery crash. And they were shocked. The reporters were shocked. Like, you got to be kidding me. You know it's going to fail. And he said, absolutely. He said, because that's how we're going to learn. He said, we know this one's going to fail, but we're going to learn from that failure how to build a better one next time. And then it's going to fail, and we're going to learn from that failure how to build a better one the next time. Now they land routinely. In fact, they land them in pairs, in tandem. And it's really cool to see that video of the two coming back to Earth and then straightening up like a pencil. And then they fire their rockets, and then the landing gear folds out and it lands.
It is mind blowing. Yeah. I'm mesmerized
really cool.
every single time. And to think that they didn't used to do that. Like you said, they would send them up and expect them to explode. They never get to reuse them again. It costs them millions, billions of dollars each time.
There were so many so-called experts that said that couldn't be done.
Oh, yeah.
That he couldn't do that. He couldn't figure, and he figured it out. It didn't take that long to figure it out. Just like when they're saying about us going to Mars,
right?
They're actually sending manned spacecraft to Mars. They said that's impossible, that we can't do that. And I
sure
know we
it's
can.
Gonna happen. I'm sure it will. Might take so many years, many, 100 years. Elon won't be here, but his team will be, or maybe his kids. Maybe. Yeah.
I think maybe
his son will take over.
The worst thing that these people can say to people like Elon Musk, whether you like him or not, he's a genius, and he's like such a pioneer, or like Walt Disney or anyone like that, tell me that they can't.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I was texting quietly with my daughter-in-law, Allison. You don't even know this. And we were texting about something, and she said, I know you felt like, people were challenging your idea or what have you in this conversation we were having. But she said, I just quietly sit back and don't say a word and think to myself, watch me. So it's the same kind of thing. Watch me do it. Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. So raising entrepreneurial kids, we actually have a whole episode on that. So if you want to listen to that, I thought it was a pretty good one too. But I just kind of wanted to touch base on a couple of the key points with that. For one, also you're teaching your kids to how to deal with money, how they shouldn't expect to just be given money. Like we've talked about that. We never had an allowance with our kids. We decided early on they were going to get earned money. And so if they did their chores that helped the family household, they would get their earned money allowance, right? And if they didn't, they didn't. And we put a dollar amount for everything that they could earn money on. So if they needed extra money, I'll clean the toilets, the kitchen counter, I will wash the car, whatever it is. And, if they needed $10, for example, to go somewhere. And that's what we did. And we even made them tithe. Now, you may or may not believe in tithing, but we do. So we even made them tithe and save. So we had these little buckets also. So when we paid them, the 10% went to tithing. I think we put 20% into savings, and the rest they could spend. So, things like that. Do you have a strategy in place for your kids? Are you teaching them about money, or are you just handing money hand over fist? Because you're gonna grow a bunch of entitled kids if you're just handing it over, and they're definitely probably going to be they're definitely going to be employees, which nothing bad about employees, but if you want entrepreneurial based kids, I say dangle the carrot of earning their own money.
Yeah, for sure.
How do you feel?
No, I agree, because otherwise you're raising, like you said, you're raising employees and not entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
And you're raising young people who are basically welfare recipients.
Yeah.
And not saying that welfare is bad, because there are people who need a hand temporarily. Yeah. I guess the emphasis would be on the word temporarily, right? Yeah. They need a hand, and that's fine. But if people feel that they're entitled to it, and they feel that that's how they should just be given money, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, you're gonna have adults that are your children, but now they're adults asking for a handout all the time. It's very true. Yeah. It's so true. So,
and part of that too is it comes back to, we discuss those things with our kids at dinner, right? We were big on eating together. And having dinner together. And of course, I was working nights, so that didn't work out later. But when they're young, especially on weekends and all, we would have dinner together, and we would have these discussions.
We did.
Right.
Yeah, we talked everything over with our kids. We were definitely the parents, but there was that camaraderie of the team spirit, I think. And then now we have the best relationship, in my opinion. We're best friends as adults. But we had those conversations. And this is funny. Were you going to say something
go
else? I was listening to a parenting webinar on Mel Robbins. I was listening to the Mel Robbins podcast yesterday, and it was all about parenting. And I thought, oh, this is apropos. We're going to be grandparents. It'd be kind of cool to hear what her expert has to say about parenting. And there was many takeaways, but one was parents should apologize if they know they've made a parenting mistake and they realize it. And even as an adult, there's nothing wrong with going back now. You have an adult children. You're the adult parent. You are still the parent. You will always be the parent. They will always be your child, right? So the child should not be apologizing to you for what you did. It's up to you to say, you know what? I've been thinking back on how I handled a situation. I should have told you then, but I just want to get this off my chest. I need to tell you now, I was completely in the wrong. But I've learned, and you know what? That can totally connect you again. If any of you are on here thinking you don't have a great relationship with your kids, I thought I would just leave that little tidbit that goes such a long way. It's not for the child to mend the relationship. It's for the parent. So, yeah, go watch that podcast. It was so good. Yeah.
And then, I was thinking earlier too, about raising our kids. And like you were saying, we were the parents. We always be the parents and whatnot. And it goes back to how we chose to raise our kids. I guess when they were young, we were pretty strict with them. Like when we go to a restaurant, that's not the time to run around and jump up and down on the seats
or lay down on the seat.
Or lay down, right? Like when we would go to a restaurant, they were to sit quietly at the table. Like if we were on an airplane, they don't stand in the seat and stare at the person sitting behind them.
Yeah.
They're not kicking not kicking the back of the seat in front of them.
But it's cute to some people, but some people that's not cute. Yeah.
No. I
it's rude.
Yeah, it's ridiculously rude. But anyways, and it's just kids need to act properly, right? So we were really strict with them. And then it worked out well, I think, because I've had so many people ask me, because they know our kids, right? And they're all, how did you raise such great kids? Now that they've known them when they became like in their teens and
20s.
Even in their 20s when they're off to college and whatnot. And when they graduated college, they're like, God, your kids are awesome. How did you do that? And it's like, it's so easy because we were parents when the kids were little. We were strict with them. We weren't mean. We didn't slap them around and lock them in the closet, do those silly things.
But we did a lot of timeouts.
Right. And we let them know what was right, what was wrong. It's clear. This is right, that's wrong. You can do this all you want. You're not doing any of that.
Yeah.
And we would be a parent when they were young. So when they got into their adolescent years, which most parents struggle with, right? Because they're just fighting with their kids. Their kids hate them.
Right.
They can't figure their kids out. Their kids want nothing to do with them. Yet our kids were our best friends, like you said earlier.
Still are.
And they still are. But I think that's the time when you can be your child's friend, is when they're older and they know the difference between right and wrong and they behave properly and they're good citizens.
Right.
Not when they're little kids, not when they're still learning and they need the direction. That's not the time to be their friend.
Right.
That's the time to be a parent.
Right.
And I think that had a lot to do with it.
A lot. And I remember, and it was modeled for me, so I can't take credit. So my mom did a really good job, I'm sure, because I did this to our kids. I don't know if you said this to them when you were disciplining, but I'd say,
the bleeding will stop soon.
I would say, you could be mad at me all you want. Because they were clearly mad. They're trying to get their way. They didn't like my punishment, whatever it is. You could be mad at me all you want. I'm the parent. This is the rule. You broke the rule. So when you're fine, you've gotten through your frustrations, come back out and talk to me, right? But I didn't worry about them and my kids. Oh no, they're mad at me. No, I'm the parent. They're the child. Yeah. How are they going to learn if you're trying to be their friend when they're too young? So that's exactly what the point you're making.
Yeah. Later you can be their friend and they'll be your friend. And it's going to be just such a great relationship you'll have. It's really cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like, this is funny, but I equate it to being a substitute teacher because I did a lot of subbing. When a substitute teacher goes in, you can't be friends with this new classroom. They don't know who you are. They don't know what you stand for, what you're going to put up with. They'll run amok. They'll push every button. It's chaos. I learned very quickly that you got to be super strict. Like, you don't put up with SH, you know what? So, you don't put up with anything. Then, as long as you come back the second day, you can start to. I remember talking to you about that because you were a police officer at the time, and I kind of needed help because I struggled when I went in and didn't have these rules. But it's the same with kids. I feel like that structure, kids love structure. We know that they need it. They wreak havoc when they don't have structure. So they need structure. So provide that and you can ease up later. You can totally ease up later. So, and honestly, that goes on to the next point that I wanted to get into is you aren't just raising kids, you're raising up leaders. And leaders has been a huge word for you our whole lives. I know. I don't know if you want to touch on that, but you're not just raising babies. You're raising your future leaders of the world, truly. Not just in your family, but it could do great things.
That seems like what we're lacking, right?
Yeah.
Seems like we lack having leaders today.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. Yeah. Maybe that's all we need to say. And then talk about the joy of watching your kids step into their own power. I jotted that down. So now watching our son and daughter-in-law with their baby girl, Noelle, oh my gosh, it's such a joy and it's so empowering. And then to also see John have his business on the side. You might know, we've talked about this on that podcast we did with him, that he's an Audible narrator. So boy, has that changed. We were chatting about that. He can't narrate his books when he's watching the baby, right? That's impossible. And so he waits till she goes to bed at night, not just one of her naps, because there's just not enough time to edit or whatever he needs to do. So his schedule has changed. But like you were saying at the beginning, how cool is that to be able to work whenever you want to work?
Yeah.
And so he's set himself up now. And it's cool to watch him like flourish in this new the daddy space.
Yeah, it's
and business.
Really cool. The two of them are, well, we knew Allison would be a good mom.
Yeah.
Because that's what she works with babies at work. So she's around babies all the time. She's really good with them, right?
Yeah.
And so we already knew that. And
I knew John would be
we knew John was going to be a great dad too.
Yeah.
We both did.
Yeah, right.
And it's really cool to see it all come to fruition, to see the two of them and how in 6 months, how they're raising their little baby girl. It's really cool.
She's precious. Those of you that are grandparents know the feeling. We've been waiting. No guilt to our kids, but we've been waiting for like 10 years. I expected to be a grandparent 10 years ago.
Yeah, I haven't forgiven him for that yet.
Yeah,
making us wait the 10 years.
So believe me, we couldn't wait to feel the experience of it all, because people have said it's like nothing else. It's so different than having your own kids. It's very true. It's really. I just get the joy. I love Noelle. I'm getting so much joy from our granddaughter. But there's like that layer of seeing your children thrive as parents that even impresses me just as much. I'll put it that way. It's spectacular, actually.
Yeah, it is pretty cool being the grandparents, because we're holding little Noelle and just, I think she needs to be changed. And then just hand her off. There you go.
I've actually changed her diaper many times. You haven't yet. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah. How did you want to end the episode today?
I don't know.
Do you have any like parting words on babies, business, and building that legacy?
I would say that now is the time to invest some extra effort into whatever it is you're doing. Like, one of the things too is you just make a decision. If you're thinking about starting something, then just get off the fence and start it. no matter where you are in life, just start it. Because like we said earlier, the longer you wait, it's not going to get any easier or any better for you. And no matter when it is you start, you'll always look back and think, gosh, I wish I'd started this the year before. I wish I'd started this 5 years ago or 10 years ago. It's never going to be like, oh, I wish I hadn't started this yet. I wish I just waited 5 years.
Yes,
Right.
never. It's never that.
You'll never do that. So just start it. And even if you think, gosh, I don't have the time, I'm so busy, you can make time, right? We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's just how much time do you make for the things you really need or really want? And I would think you would want this.
Yeah.
Because it's going to free up so much time for you later.
Totally.
Like the whole idea of this podcast is dig the well. So dig the well. It doesn't mean dig the well when you have some spare time or when it's convenient or when the weather is perfect. It's just dig the well. No matter what it is you're already doing, dig the well, because you will be so happy that you did. 5 years from now, you're going to think, thank God I dug the well 5 years ago when I really probably didn't need it, but I need it today.
Yeah.
Because now I have the option, the freedom to spend time with my family, to spend time with the kids that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't dug this well and started this.
Totally.
Right.
Just like you. We couldn't have retired you when we did.
It's all about options.
Yeah.
Right. It's gonna provide so many options for you later in life that you don't even know about, that you can't even imagine. Yeah. But isn't it nice to have the options? You can do whatever you want now. You can choose the path you want to take.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, when the option came up to retire, oh, great, I'm going to retire. My buddies are still working. The guys I used to work with are still working.
One's a captain now, or do you think lieutenant?
Oh, I think he made captain finally.
Yeah. So there's still some good guys over there, but he's still
most
working.
Of them don't promote, though.
And he never had kids, so maybe that's just his whole life. I'm not sure.
Yeah, his career, if you know the guy, I'm not going to say who it is, but if you knew him, you'd say, wow, that is a really odd career path that he's taken, the things that he's done and how he got to where he's going. And out of all the group of guys that I know really well, that we're like close,
the clique,
he was the least likely to promote. We all still can't believe that he actually promoted.
And he laughs about it too, for all of you with a soft heart listening, all the women listening.
Oh, yeah.
He thinks it's funny too. He didn't see himself promoting.
Oh, he's the first one to admit it. He'll send like a group text to us. I remember when he made lieutenant, he sent a group text to us. He goes, you guys will not believe this. He goes, I think there's a mistake, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm on the transfer as a lieutenant.
Whoa.
And we're like, yeah, that's got to be a typo.
And we went to the promotion party that he had at his house.
And they all joked about it there.
Yeah, that was
everybody who spoke at his party joked about it. But anyways, but I'm just saying that it just gives you all these options. And I thank God that I had the option, gosh, what was it, 6.5 years ago?
6 now, barely, a little over 6.
Was
well, I guess it is coming up on a half.
It was January 2019.
Yeah.
So if you carry the one, So if we hadn't done this, if we hadn't dug the well, and mostly Vicky, if she hadn't dug this well back when she started digging the thing, which she didn't really have the time or didn't really enjoy it all the time, right?
Yeah, not always. Definitely not always. Yeah.
I wouldn't have had the option.
Yeah.
Really I would have still, who knows, I'd probably still be working.
Yeah. And I'd never be seeing him. Our kids wouldn't be seeing him, because there was always so much overtime, not necessarily on purpose, right? Yeah. You're required. So anyway, but that's awesome. And, I love that, John. And I want to also say, if you're thinking about your why you build your business in the first place, or why you're thinking about changing your business, maybe you want to switch businesses and it's been bothering you, write down your why. And I would love it as a community. We really want to get to know all of you better. I would love it. We would love it if you would, on YouTube or Rumble, even if you're listening right now on Spotify or one of the other podcast platforms, jump over to YouTube and comment. Tell us what your why is. Tell us why you want to build a business at all, because it all goes back to your why. That is what's going to drive you. And plus, we'd like to get to know you better and get to know what your whys are. And we'd love to hear from you.
And you know what? If you have trouble doing that, because it's not something that I don't know that everyone, it's not something that people do all the time. So if you need help with that, just reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you and try and help figure out, what it is that would get you out of bed early and keep you up late at night working on something else, working on digging your well, right?
Yeah.
And
definitely.
we'll help you with that. And we can even help you find maybe the best fit for a side gig for you.
Yeah. We'd be happy to do a discovery call too. No charge, just.
Yeah. We're not trying to make money.
Yeah.
We're just,
we want to get to know you.
Yeah.
We want to help you. All right. Well, have a fantastic day, weekend, wherever you are listening. Yeah. And we will see you on the next one. All right. Bye for now.
Guys.
Thanks for joining us on Dig the Well.
We hope you feel empowered and ready to take on new challenges.
Remember, if we can do it, so can you. Keep learning, keep believing, and going after your dreams.
And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with someone who needs a little inspiration or maybe a nudge in the right direction.
Help us grow this community of go-getters. Together, we can achieve greatness and get back to family.
Thanks for listening, and let's keep digging the well.